Hello, my friends. Furia TV show is actually the best TV show of 2025, at least from Spain. And this is why. First of all, characters are good, perfect, written characters. And five main characters, five women, are the central characters of this TV show. But today we are going to do the best, like what we can, and bring in supportive characters as like the central, heroes of this stream is what I really enjoy. And the main characters, they are like, of course, the vital part of this TV show. But these two women, they just arrived in Madrid, and Lou and Megan basically not completely supportive, because one episode completely dedicated to this woman, and specifically episode 6 about these two women. But what actually so unique about this TV show is that while every episode dedicated to a specific character, it is also exploring simultaneously other storyline. For example, every storyline is intertwined with other storylines, and this is why this TV show is so unique. And together, Megan and Lou, they arrived to Madrid, and they are looking for rent. They're gonna rent apartment, and this is like their first time they actually gonna just live together or something like this in Madrid, at least. And from what we know, it's actually just like flash forwarding. Flash forwarding is where TV show showing you future moments before present time, and then it's jumping to present, and in next episode it's again jumping to some episodes or some moments from future, and later on it's showing you what happened and what led you to these moments. So we see that this is actually the very beginning of these two characters and how they arrived to Madrid looking for that apartment. And they are going to not only like live together but work together. And this is the main thing about this TV show, because the place where they are going to work is actually the main stage of this TV show, that shop, and we're gonna discuss it later. To get hired by that shop, which is high fashion shop in Madrid, they are gonna just to gain a lot of subscribers on Instagram. So this way they can impress the owners of that shop, and they're gonna do that by faking their profiles to gain the followers in just 24 hours. They actually resorted to this way. They just hired some type of influencer who can actually just, give you like million followers, fake, of course, followers. So Lou and Megan, basically, they're gonna just use that fake subscribers to get hired by that high fashion shop, prestigious place to work at. And they're gonna spend all their savings or something like this on these fake profiles. And as it turns out, they actually used the opportunity, because once Lou and Megan arrived to that high fashion shop, called gallery. Gallery is actually just recruiting a lot of people at this moment. Like, they gonna just go through this test to see if like they are suitable for this type of work. And Lu is actually just using her Instagram as not only her social media page, but she's actually calling her the name her Instagram called, and she's like advertising her social media, and at the same time she's like showing how, like, you know, useful her fan base, her fake but still huge fan base can be for this place. And this is her advantage to get hired by this place. She's shown all the, like, you know, zoomer things from Instagram to using AI. Like, she was asked if she speaks like Chinese or other languages, but she actually impressed owners of this gallery magazine by showing them like how she can actually use all the, like, you know, modern tech, and it's not even necessary to, you know, speak other languages or something like this. So why I'm pointing this out, because it's so important in this TV show. Megan and Lu, they actually were the important part of the events happening throughout the season. And as young, like, adults hired by this gallery, they are gonna make the difference in terms of the, like, how stable this place was before they arrived. They're gonna make this place just turbulent, and to bring that chaos that happened later on. And Megan and Lu actually both hired by this gallery shop, high fashion shop in Madrid. But at some point there is some dude just popped out who is the interest of Lu. And Megan is, of course, getting jealous by this dude who is just, you know, going to work at the same place they are going to. And while they are happy by, you know, this news, they both just got hired by gallery, and they work at, like, in the most prestigious, like, fashion shop or something like this. The first problem they faced actually was that all the customers, all the people arriving to look like for clothes, they are actually going directly to another seller, which is assistant, and her name is Nat. And Nat is actually, like, going to steal all the customers from Lu and Megan, because she has been working for a while. She has been working like 30 years in, you know, selling, and now she is like seeing these young women just arrived as rivalry. She sees them as like replacement for her and other older people at this gallery, because like your age is always gonna be your advantage, particularly when the age gap is so big. And while she's actually stealing all the customers from Lu and Megan, she's also like showing how, you know, how much like knowledge she has in fashion in general. she's representing herself, high fashion, and working this place like means representing high level of fashion, and you should be looking like accordingly, you know. But Lou and Megan, they just look so casual, and this is of course irritating another workers, specifically Nat, because she is so jealous, first of all, of their age and how young they look compared to her. Like, this could be advantage to drag more customers. This is why she's so like obsessed by this, you know, idea that she's gonna be replaced by these two women. But Lou is actually saying that you don't even need to look to represent something. You can be whatever you want, because she just sold 2 handbags on her Instagram, even though it's fake, like, fan base. But she's trying to, like, you know, explain that the old-fashioned way to sell things doesn't work anymore. But she is still so pissed off by this Nat, who is stealing all the customers. Even though she works the old-fashioned way, she still like managed to, you know, get all the customers. And Lou and Megan, they just feel like outsiders at this point. They are just on backseat, and they making this plan actually, and they actually plotting some type of, you know, revenge. They are gonna just bring Nat to a party at which they are gonna just make her look bad. They're gonna just put her in the dirt and make a lot of photos with Nat to basically just you know, make your picture look bad. And basically the reputation is gonna be, you know, destroyed. And at this point, this place gallery not only hiring young people, but they are also just, you know, resorting to some type of like promoting things in the most extraordinary way. Like, for example, boots can be actually just promoted by showcasing some type of, you know, tricks like sport. And they actually hiring like real sportsmen to work at this place. And Natalie, basically, she feels that this is gonna be like game changer. If they just, you know, do that, that means that we are first in line to get fired. And they just start worrying that newcomers just so close to owners, and specifically Miguel, the owner of this gallery, he actually just drinks, spending some time with Lou, Megan, and another worker, and he never spent any time with Natalie and with another workers, but he is already like involved with these newcomers, which is of course pissing off Nat. And she sees this rivalry like something personal, because this is not about like her personality, this is about her age, and this is something beyond even personal, because this is something you cannot change. If someone younger than you, and if that person is gonna be liked more than you, there is nothing you can do. Basically, you cannot improve because you cannot look younger than those people. And basically there is no way she can be concentrated on the work, but she is constantly concentrated on these two women and how they interact with owners, with other workers, with customers. And on the other hand, Lou and Megan, they just came up with this plan. They gonna just invite Nat to a party, and they make this seem as normal party. There is nothing like to worry about for Nat. And she was so preoccupied with this party, not only with this party, but she was so obsessed with the idea that she deserves to be promoted as like manager of the floor they work. Like the whole floor is just high fashion shop, and her apartment is also like looking as a shop. She actually has a lot of clothes, and her whole apartment just looks as, a shop. Basically, she lives and works in the same place. There's no difference. The only difference is that she has a TV at her home. And she even like imagining how she is like transitioning to that party directly from her home. There is like from her apartment to her work. Actually, from her apartment and her work, no difference. And this way she looks even more fixated on work because she doesn't get any proper rest. And her character is central. Nat's character is more main character than Lou and Megan in this TV show, Furia. But they are intertwined, all the episodes, all the events connected somehow. And while we see some type of events happening, later on it turns out that this is just flash forwarding. Flash forwarding, again, it's when future events shown before present. And then it's gonna be present to show what happened before that flash forward event. And when they went to this club, the only purpose of this was just to put Nat in the dirt and to create her an Instagram account to show her in the most bad way, to show her hanging out, drinking, partying, kissing another woman. And they managed actually to do that. Not only they got her drunk, but they actually just made her reputation destroyed, basically. And they put her in this taxi, and basically while she was taken home, they still hanging out in this club together. And that other dude from the gallery is disturbing basically Megan because she sees him as the huge interest of Lou, her girlfriend, basically. And she's openly just hanging out with that dude, which is of course pissing off Megan. And she's gonna do something about it because she just, basically raged out and she just beats that dude to the point that she got arrested, basically. And this TV show called Rage for a reason, because every person, every character in this TV show at some point is gonna be just freaking out and either beating or just killing someone. But this TV show makes it in the most unique way. There is no like that typical Spanish thing about like women revenging on men and being mistreated by men. They are gonna just kill everyone, including their husbands. And the revenge thing in this TV show is way more sophisticated. It's not only about feminist, it's about like being reasonable, you know. So after Nat got fired because of that reputation, her hanging out with her co-workers in that club and putting all those pictures in her Instagram, her reputation destroyed, and she is gonna just, you know, fight back, literally, using her fists. She basically beats Lou, but the owner, Miguel, he actually just, you know, more empathizing with these women. Still, no matter what happened, he still sees them as like more important for this place than the woman who basically has been working for years. And at this point, she's like completely destroyed, not only her career, but emotionally. She feels like she left out. But the other worker, Rosa, who was basically like more of an outsider at this place, because Natalie, she was basically going to be promoted and, you know, ruling the whole floor of this gallery shop. But now they both just fired. They both out of work. And at this point, the TV show starts using the best it can, really, the comedy aspect. And the satire of this TV show is making me believe that Spanish series in general should be using this type of format with flash forwarding, with, you know, intertwined storylines. It's actually good quality. And from all of the stuff from 2025, this is the only TV show from Spain that actually makes such a difference. Because all other stuff just such reused content and too much fixated on the idea that women should be revenging on their men no matter what. And just, you can use that idea, but you can just make it in the most interesting way, like this TV show does. And this TV show made me believe that Spanish like industry is still breathing, because at some point I actually believe that there is no way I'm gonna come back to Spanish shows after some pretty bad shows and mediocre content. I just completely, you know, shifted towards American and Western type of shows. But this is like, for me, it's like, you know, the new beginning for exploring the Spanish industry. And specifically, these characters and how every character is important for this story, but you can actually choose which character you gonna just focus on, and without just missing out a lot of storyline, you can just focus on, for example, these two women, and if you like them, you can just come back to some other characters to see who they are, because they're gonna be connected with these characters. But still, you can only see, and you can only just pick the moments of this woman, and you will you will still not losing tracks. You will still be aware of everything, and this is the important, the most important thing about this TV show. It doesn't make you necessarily watch the entire episode, every episode. It offers you the variety of characters. You can choose, you can skip, but still you can come back at some point, because the format of flash forwarding is itself just constant coming back and forth, because the story is so intertwined. It's showing you moments from future, but in next episode it's showing you what happened before that exact moment, and after that episode it's showing you even earlier what happened before that episode. And every episode is coming a little bit early to show you what happened in the very beginning. And at this point, I just put every episode in the order it should be in normal, in normal TV show, without flash forwarding, just where everything just, consistently, and it's actually just like this. If you're gonna just watch these characters, episode 6 revealing their storyline from the very beginning, from the moment they arrived to Madrid. Episode 6 actually called Megan and Lou, and fully dedicated to these two characters. And episode 6 just showing the moment of them renting new apartment, or they were just looking for that apartment, and apartment was actually terrible. They probably didn't even rent it, but they actually saying that they are gonna rent it. But this is not the point. When you're watching this moment, you're only realizing that this happened before every event of every other episode. You're only realizing that after you watched, the majority of it. And while you're watching it, you're not really realizing that this is the flash forwarding. This was before they were hired by that gallery shop. And when you realize that that was before, it's even more surprising. And that feeling of surprise is actually that so so much value for this TV show, because at every event there is ambiguous feeling about if it's before or if it's just fast forwarding to some events in future. And when we see them just going to this meeting and talking about making them like fake subscribers on Instagram to get hired by that gallery. We already know that they already hired by that gallery. And this is, of course, the realization that was before they were hired, obviously. But still, the feeling of surprise is so big. And that surprise that this was like the prehistory of everything, but shown like as at present time, that is surprise. And the humor, the satire is also the most important part, which makes it less serious but easily digest. You know, you can actually just, binge the whole season, skipping few episodes, of course, if you don't like them. And for example, episode 2 of Furia, showing the moment when Lou and Megan go into interview for work at gallery. And from the very beginning, from the first moment they arrived, they already like showing a lot of like straightforwardness and the attitude that owners looking for, the attitude, the careless, effortless, that brave attitude, that has so much value, especially now, like people looking for something like that is effortlessly good itself, when people can do things without like putting too much pressure on themselves. And these young women, they definitely seem to be that effortlessly good at whatever they do, actually. And this is why this rivalry feels so real between them and this Nat character. Nat character actually going through some moments in this TV show, and her development is obvious because she was basically pushing back those newcomers because she was jealous of them, because age gap, because they gonna just steal all the customers. She was so worried about everything. But at some point, the TV show makes you believe that they gonna just get along at some point, make it up, and just be friends, And while they actually hate her for stealing all the customers from them, she seems to be like interested in, getting along with them, because I think this is like the common thing about the age difference. When older people, they tend to see in younger people like potential friends. They want to just get along more with younger people than people their age, because people their age basically seem more boring in the same problems, same discussions. But younger people, like, they actually more of an interest for any older people, in my opinion, even when age gap is not so huge, when there is only like 5-10 years age gap, it's still advantage. If you're younger, you can actually make friends with people older you, like 5-10 years or something like this, because they gonna feel with you younger. They gonna feel with you as if they coming back to their early years, or they as if they, actually just, never aged. And this is why probably this relationship feels way more like real than other storylines, and pretty reasonable to put this rivalry in the center of like TV show. And while still it's not only one central like conflict, it's probably the most like important conflict, because this conflict is the easiest and the most familiar to people, which is actually a good thing, because you can actually just compare it to your life and how it works in real life, and it works pretty the same. And I personally, I experienced a lot of similar things when you're working at some place and when you were basically benched because some other people just getting more value for, owners of the place you work at. And when you get sidelined like this, it always like feels terrible. When you just getting backseated by younger or more energetic people, it always feels so terrible. And the sadness of that moment when you're realizing that someone has more value for people who hired you, and now like you seem just useless, and you feel that useless, and this is why not going to party, she's going to drink with them, she's going to even kiss with them, because she feels that desperate, like despair. She feels actually that she has no choice but to get along with this woman, even though she hates them at the same moment. This is the only way that she can actually understand. She can actually understand how their brains work, probably. And while this is like got to extreme point, and she got too many, bad pictures from this party, basically all the pictures they made focused specifically on ruining her reputation and putting her in a bad spot, basically putting her in the dirt. She, at the same time, she got that feeling of being younger. She got that feeling of being close to these people, to younger people, and she got somehow refresh she needed, actually. Not only for her work, but even though she's gonna be fired and sidelined by these people, this moment basically hanging out with them made her realize that she was so basically fixated on work, and she was only like seeing like through that tunnel vision the work and personal life basically so messed up for her. She wasn't really, enjoying life. She wasn't really like, doing whatever she wants basically. But at the same moment, this TV show showing consequences not only for one person, the consequences for Megan and Lou were even worse, because Megan basically got jealous to the point that she basically destroyed that guy who was hitting on Lou, basically. Even though that was mutual interest, she still sees that like as a threat. She basically, that dude just got destroyed, and she basically, aggressively attacked him and got arrested. So the consequences for both Natalie, Nat, and this couple, like, bad. So there is no like good or bad characters. There is no happy ending or like sad ending. There is only one ending, which is gonna be like life-changing ending for every character. For Natalie, it's just the end of her career, or just the start of new beginning, and just getting on a new page of your life. But for this woman, it's just realization of how their friendship, how them being together is so dangerous, because now Lou just saw how her girlfriend Megan basically dangerous. When she freaks out, she can actually go crazy and just beat everyone on her way, And while we are not seeing her breaking up with her girlfriend, there is still a couple of episodes left. Episode 7 and episode 8 is gonna be like the conclusion for these characters and the conclusion for the story. And while it seems like desperately terrible for Nat, we still don't know how it's gonna be for Megan and Lou, because they just basically replaced two women who were working for such long time before they arrived. And now it's not like clear if it's gonna be rivalry or if they gonna just make up things again and they gonna just, do something together to revenge on this place, or if something gonna happen. But basically the ending of the Nat and her friend's story was where they basically put this place on fire. The whole gallery shop with all the clothes, with all the value of this place, put on fire, and basically they destroyed the whole place. And doing this revenge, of course, they put themselves in the most bad position. Getting arrested and losing your job. This is the worst scenario, but we still don't know what will happen, because after this we only see flashbacks, flash forwarding to previous events. But after that place, after gallery burns, there is no answer still, and we will see answer in next episodes. But that was only first part of this stream. Thank you for watching, and with next episodes we can make more content using this Furia TV show, which is actually good and, in my opinion, the best from 2025, because Spanish segment cannot really flex too much recently. Just they do not do well, and I do like French, Spanish, Portuguese. I like a lot of international TV shows, but if I see the huge problem in general with this Spanish segment, I'm gonna just say it, because it's obvious that they are so fixated on the one thing, the criminal, the revenge on one's husband. It always should be women revenging on men, and it's actually become too much fixation on the one thing, revenging, constant revenging. No matter what, you should be killing that person who just mistreated you. But there is a lot of other things to make your story different. I don't know why they're so fixated now on the only one thing, the retaliation, constant retaliation on someone who caused you trauma. It's okay, but at the same time we see how different American and other segments can be. We can see how different you can make this same subject by doing unique characters and storylines. But Spanish industry, they actually going to be improving again. But now I see them in the most I don't know, turbulent state, because they do a lot of TV shows that nobody cares. Only people in Spain and Latin America. But to make people care outside of Spain and non-Spanish people, you need to make something different from what you used to. And this TV show is making the difference. But this is only one single TV show from 2025. All other stuff pretty much the same stuff, and reusing the same theme of retaliation, of revenging on your husband who just so terrible person, or not necessarily on your husband, or even man just revenging on someone. This whole revenge thing is just so much in Spanish stuff, and this is why everything's just so like, you know, like ordinary, without any like, you know, actual unique story. Every story just contains that part when someone should be revenging on something. But this is only my opinion. For if you just think something, you can really just say that. And I don't know like every single TV show, every single movie of recent, but I know how it was before 2024, 2023, because I started this channel using only Spanish stuff, and Spanish TV shows specifically made me start this channel, like Elite. And while I basically grew up doing Spanish content, I was watching the progress, the direction they were going to. I was watching basically the dynamic of Spanish content and how different they can be at some point. And there were a lot of good moments and a lot of good shows. Not all of them were terrible, but at some point it actually became the same, and somebody actually just told that we need to show retaliation on some terrible person in every TV show, in every movie. We need to show that thing, like as if someone just actually gave instruction to every producer, you know, to promote the same thing about retaliation. Even comedy like this has the like major retaliation part as the central plot. But this time they managed to actually surprise. They managed to make this in a unique way by doing this flash forwarding, by doing this jumping to future moments and then showing you what happened before in next episode. It's like you're watching it in reverse. You're watching in reverse events, and you getting to know something over time. You getting to know this while you already know what happened, like you already know what happened after. You don't know what happened before, and it makes you like questioning the motives, questioning the intentions. And using these methods is actually smart for someone who created this TV show. Even this, like, you know, little like details with sport elements and promoting like, you know, shoes using sportsmen is like way more interesting than, for example, that TV show Olymp from 2025. This sport element could be shown like as a part of story. But when it's only one huge part, sport, like the Olymp TV show from 2025, fully about sport, right? But I missed that TV show on purpose because I knew that it was terrible. I didn't even have to watch it. I didn't even need to watch it because it's obviously just reused content with no fresh air, with no fresh ideas. And focusing your whole show on just sport and putting like lesbians, gays, and hoping that it will just succeed. It will not. It will never succeed if you just put some love scenes, if you just put a lot of stupid drama, exaggerated moments. It will never succeed on like global, on international market. And users like me or any other like person who actually watches a lot of shows can easily just recognize when it actually becomes just boring at some point. When you're doing the same thing again and again, you can see the pattern. And the pattern in Spanish industry is that they became so fixated on retaliation subject, the criminal subject, I'm not gonna say, but I am probably feminist, and while it's not only Spanish, but it's just everywhere, but they use it not in the best way, I'm gonna say that. They use it as a way to show you this only like exclusive way to show feminists, like when there is only one bad side, and this is gonna be, of course, your husband, or it's gonna be your boyfriend. And they showing it exclusively bad for male, like exclusively putting a female character in dominant position and putting her in, let's say, more sympathizing like environment, when people genuinely, like people, they believe that that character is just good person, because there is no way she can be bad person, because she got hurt by her husband, let's say, and she's gonna just retaliate. Of course we're gonna like her, of course we're gonna just root for that character because she is a good character. She got hurt. But they do not show you the other side of the story. They do not show you the bad sides of that same character. Why she not perfect? Why she can be just flawed character with a lot of, bad sides. They only show you that way. And this is the problem. The problem is not necessarily overusing the retaliation subject, but the problem is showing that as one-sided, like, dynamic, which is not really like this. It's not like this in real life, and we know that it's not like this. And nobody can be fooled by this if shown this only like if you still believe that this is the problem, the universal problem, not only Spanish problem, then probably it is. I don't know. But still, that was my opinion on Furia Rage TV show from HBO 2025. And I said a lot of extra, which I probably didn't even plan, but still, I said what I said. Thank you.